Okay, you'll have to watch the first video, or the video I put up yesterday about my book's first chapter to understand this video. But this is mostly for Skyhawk40, who has given me a suggestion, and I'm going to give it a try, and he's going to listen to it, and he's going to tell me what he thinks. I personally am not sure it's a good idea, but I also have learned that it's really important to listen to reader excuse me, feedback. So that's what I'm trying to do. What I'm doing with Chapter 1, I've never been very happy with Chapter 1 because I don't feel it's up to par with the rest of the book, is I'm taking the first two little scenes in the original and I'm incorporating them into the third scene as a flashback to make the first chapter just be one scene with flashbacks. What Skyhawk40 suggested is that I extend the first flashback so you basically see more of it before I go into what would be the present. So here it goes. Tell me what you think. If you think this version's better, or the first rewritten version, which is on the other video, or the original, which is also on the other video. Chapter 1. Tottering alongside the cabin's slumped exterior, Galen clutched his staff. Blood, stiffening within his beard, tightened the skin below his lower lip. With his forearm he scrubbed at his mouth, pausing outside the cabin's front window. A salty stench bit his nostrils, overwhelming the sense of the high mountain trees. Through the crack under the door he caught the faint buzzing of flies. Trembling, he opened his gore-stained fingers, let the broken axe fall. Wind harried the trees beyond the cabin, bending the stumpy bluebarks to its will. Galen lifted his staff and thrust himself from the wall, the only home he had known in 19 years. Shivering, clad in just his tunic and worn black leggings, Galen plunged among the frozen trees, blindly drove himself headlong from the site of Seth Laval's murder. He fled into blue-gray shadow, cleaving bracken and rough greenberry, sobbing for breath as he raced below the reach of the midday sun. Downward he shambled, skidding, half falling through clove leaf, its berry clusters staining his tattered sleeves a dark blue. A tree root stopped him, catching the toe of his boot. With a yell he pitched forward, started to, yet the persistent rap of knuckles on wood jerked up his head. Bewildered, he stared through a bleary haze of memory at the man seated opposite him across the little table. A man in his late 20s, he guessed, kind enough to rescue him from the frigid rain. "I said," repeated the stranger, with an air of dwindling patience, "I'm Tarek Florn, son of Chase. My father owns Vale Horse. And you are?" Fingering his staff, Galen met the man's hazel eyes. Exhausted, his mind was reeling, snatching him from the present to what he had done with his own frail hands. His stepfather, Seth Laval, sprawled face down, screaming, dragging himself through a thick swath of blood. "You are?" the man repeated. Galen fought his gaze into focus on the other's bearded face. "Laval," he said, his voice rusty from lack of use. "Galen," he added, frowning. After years of being called Thing or It, his real name lived far away in another time. Furtively, he glanced at the steaming bowl before him, his stomach twisting into knots as he leaned back, staring despondent into his lap. He studied the bruise on his hand he held out of sight beneath the table, feeling again the axe's splintered handle, the weight of its head adding momentum to his strokes, the yielding resistance when it struck. With a shudder, he raised his head, blinking to clear his sight. In the tavern's amber light, his companion's eyes were hazel, not brown, Galen realized, filled with motes of fire, a fierce determination belying his kindness. Around their table, set apart from the wall, large men were pressing close, reeking of peasant roy, or worse, the potato brew favored by his stepfather. Despite himself, Galen cringed, tilted his staff closer, and pressed it to his breast. Okay, so now there are 3 versions out there. Which is the best one? Inquiring minds would like to know.